Hello lovely people, we are starting with the outfit again because you guys really enjoyed it last time. So today we're going to be wearing, or I am going to be wearing, this really cute A-line skirt. It has this gorgeous dark turquoise green color and it has the little layers here, really cute. And I'm going to pair it with this shirt which is mostly white. It has a little like black details here on the shoulders. For my perfume of the day I have chosen the Jo Malone Blackberry and Bay, which starts off really fresh and citrusy and over the course of the day takes a deeper, sweeter note. I really like these kind of perfumes. I'm going to pair it with this watch because, you know, little details like this make me happy. And of course, as accessories we are also going for the dark turquoise green theme. I'm going to be using this cute vintage sort of ring. By the way, the fabric that you see here is actually from recycled tie, like the types of ties, you know, that men wear with suits. The store where I bought this ring from had a lot of items made with recycled material from ties, which I thought was really cute. And I'm going to pair it with these super cute kitty earrings that one of my best friends gave me as a present. They're from one of my favorite brands, which is called Ben Português, and it's a Portuguese brand. We're back on the struggle bus, trying to show you my outfit in this very inconvenient space for that. So here you have the skirt, super adorbs, paired with the shirt. I've just put my hair back now with a little headband, because I want it to dry a bit before I do something with it. And here you have my outfit of the day. I'm not wearing any shoes right now because they're downstairs, and I'm just going to put them on last minute. Alright you guys, at number 13 on our Pat McGrath eyeshadow ranking list we had the beautiful Bronze Temptation palette from the Opulence 2018 collection. This is how the palette looks like, and contrary to what you are probably assuming, we are not going to be going for a look with this shade, even though I would really have liked that, but I did something with like brown and blue in my previous look and I don't want to like repeat myself. And also I want to just use this shade because I used it recently and I realized how little I have used it and how much I enjoy it. So we're actually going to go for a sort of like neutral lid, and we're going to pop this as a lower lash line pop of color. And in the meantime I am going to be telling you a funny story again, because I figured it was really fun to do last time when I told this like really short anecdotal story of how I put my arm through the wrong sleeve, through like the wrong hole of the sleeve. And I figured I can tell more funny stories like this while we're doing makeup. I'm going to take my blending brush and start off with the lighter matte shade. So, as a lot of you guys know, I live in the Netherlands. However, I don't originally come from here. I moved here 14 years ago for my studies, and I didn't think I was going to stay this long. It's just that one thing led to another and I stayed. And in the meantime, of course, I've made an effort to learn the language, and at this moment I would consider myself a pretty fluent Dutch speaker. The thing is, I work in academic research where everything is a mixed bag. You have a lot of international people, so the most commonly spoken language for me at work is English. However, I have quite a few colleagues who are Dutch. So when I started working at my current position 5 years ago, in 2015, I started working as a postdoc. I decided that is a great moment, you know, to just get people to be used to talking Dutch to me. So I just thought all the Dutch people speak Dutch to me, it's no problem. If I make mistakes, I make mistakes. And I'm just going to learn so much from practicing speaking Dutch to you all the time. And the reason for that is it's very difficult to get out of a habit once you are into a habit. I think people who live as expats or have lived abroad maybe are going to relate to this quite a bit. When you're used to speaking a certain language with someone, it's very difficult to switch from one day to the other just because the other person has all of a sudden learned the local language. It's not that easy. So at the previous lab I worked at, truth be told, my Dutch was also at a much lower level, so it was much more difficult for me to communicate, but people there knew me for years. They knew me as an English speaker, and it was just very difficult. Like to this day, if I meet these guys, I mostly speak English to them because it's automatic. It's just one of those things that's very hard to explain to people, but it's just the way it is. So I wanted for people to get used to speaking Dutch to me at my new workplace. So going back to 2015, I had just started my new job, and coincidentally, my current boss was recently promoted to full professor, so he was going to have his professor party. Short interlude to announce that I'm going to go in with the deeper brown shade now on my outer V part of the eye. So there was an invitation sent around, and the invitation extended to partners as well. So yours truly decides that, you know, in the spirit of her newfound aspiration to speak Dutch as much as possible, she's going to respond to the invitation in Dutch. Especially because writing in Dutch I feel much more comfortable with. Well, I feel pretty comfortable speaking it at this point, but let's say back at the time I found writing even more convenient because I had the time to think about things, which is ironic because I actually didn't do that. Anywho, so I respond to the email and I say that I'm going to bring my echtgenote. I'm going to put the word on the screen, and in a minute I'm going to tell you what went wrong down there. So over here I'm going to put the spelling of the word that I used. So I sent the email, and while I was sending the email, or maybe like for a few seconds before that, the thought briefly crossed my mind, am I using the right word here? Maybe I should look it up, because there's echtgenote and there's echtgenoot, putting that on the screen as well. Very, very similar. Wildly different meanings. Echtgenoot means husband and echtgenote means wife. Yours truly though, even though she had all the time in the world to look it up, and for a brief second, for a split second, I thought maybe I should look it up before I send the email. But then I thought, nah, this is the right word, I should be good. So I sent it out. And then a few days later, I really can't remember in what context, I was mentioning to my boss, you know, something about my husband. And he was like, oh, so you have a husband? And I said, yes, why? And he said, well, my wife and I spent 3 hours the other day trying to figure out whether you're married to a female or a male, because I had mentioned that my husband's name is Vanya, which is a very Slavic name, but it has the very funny attributes to it. It can easily be a female or a male name, like you can't really tell. Like if you don't know, if someone doesn't tell you what the gender of the person named Vanya is, it can really be either way. So this in combination with my wrongful usage of the word echtgenote confused my boss, and he was like, should I expect that you show up with a wife, or should I expect that you come with a husband? Not that it's a big deal, but he was just surprised because he was under the impression that I am married to a man. And then all of a sudden I mentioned echtgenote, and the echtgenote's name is Vanya, and it was all very, very confusing. Anyway, so that's a cute little story for you. And then when I, you know, showed up at the party, I introduced Vanya as my lesbian wife, because I just had to make that joke. I just love these shades so much. They look so, so beautiful together. I'm just giving a little blendy blend around the edges, softening it out. I'm going to take my glitter glue and apply that underneath that neutral shade we're going to pop on the lid in a bit. And in the meantime, I'm going to tell you my second anecdotal story from work. I'm sure I have more, but these are like the two that immediately jump to my mind and the ones that have remained a recurring joke at work. So on another occasion, I was talking to one of my colleagues who works as a technician, and we were talking about how he has like a whole bunch of different projects and he's like jumping around between different projects. And at one point he used this expression which I had never heard before. He mentioned something about the vlieg, the keep. And in my mind I was like, so vliegend means flying and keep is the word where things went wrong. So just very shortly interrupting here to say that I'm going to take this gorgeous shade here, which is a little bit of like a duochrome shade. It has this gorgeous like sort of reddish toned base with a bit of like a green overlay there. At least that's how I always see this shade. I'm going to use my fingers for it. So I'm talking to my colleague and then he says that he's the vlieg and the keep. And here's the joke. So what I heard is the word kip. I'm going to put that on the screen. And I thought that the expression is the flying chicken. And in my mind it also made sense, like you're like running around like a headless chicken doing all sorts of different things. So I was like, oh, okay, he's the flying chicken. later on that day, I am going to like take my lunch or coffee break, whatever, and I'm walking with my colleagues, and there is an English speaker amongst us, so I am translating the conversation that I have earlier with my colleague, and at one point I mentioned something about the flying chicken, and my Dutch colleagues stop me and they're like, say that again? Flying chicken? What's the expression in Dutch? And I say fully confidently, de vliegende kip. All of my Dutch colleagues are in stitches at that point. Because apparently the expression is not de vliegende kip, it's de vliegende keep. Keep as in, you know, football terms. So you can imagine that flying chicken situation remained a running joke at the lab for years to come. But one of the important, you know, things that I have learned along the way is to keep going and not be ashamed if you make such mistakes. Like if you live in a foreign country and you've always been too nervous to talk the local language because you're afraid of making a fool out of yourself, I think you should just accept that you are going to make a fool out of yourself, you are going to say the wrong things, you are going to use the wrong expressions, you are going to, you know, make grammatical mistakes. People will correct you, people will be nice enough to have the patience to listen to you, and honestly, I think these two stories, the story of my lesbian wife and the flying chicken, are just hilarious. And of course it was embarrassing. Of course it's embarrassing to make these sort of mistakes, but it shouldn't really stop you from learning or trying to speak a new language, because, you know, it's good fun for everybody. I'm going through a little bit of a phase where I really enjoy wearing winged liner again, so I'm going to take my Inglot Duraline and my Inglot 77 gel liner, and I'm going to use that to wing a liner. To complete my lower lash line, I'm going to take this Kiko eyeshadow stick in the number 10, which is a gorgeous, very vibrant green color. I'm going to apply that on my waterline. I don't know if I already mentioned this brush. This is a brush that I picked up from Sonia G in July. It is her Pencil 1 brush. I am completely in love with this brush. It is my favorite brush now to apply inner corner highlights, and especially to blend things on my lower lash line, because it is so incredibly precise. It has like a very pointed and dense structure to it, and it's very precise, but it blends out shades very easily without taking them too far down. And here you have the final look, you guys. On my lips I'm wearing a combination of two Pat McGrath products. The first one is her Luxe Trans lipstick in the shade Donatella, which granted is not my favorite color. It's a very nude color, and on my lips it actually looks even lighter than it is in the tube. So truth be told, I don't really enjoy wearing this lipstick on its own. I always pair it with other products, and I thought today would be the perfect time to pair it with one of her lip glosses, because this is actually called Bronze Temptation as well, and I think it just looks perfect with this look because it is as if it's made to go with this eyeshadow palette. So number 13, the Bronze Temptation palette. We will see each other again next week for number 12, which is the Ritualistic Rose Squad. I hope you enjoyed this video and a little comedic interlude with my Dutch language mishaps. I'm sure that those of you who live in a foreign country have definitely had situations like this. We can all just have a good laugh about it. If there are any Dutch people who watched this video, I'm sure you were in stitches when I told the story about the vliegende kip. Anywho, thanks so much for watching, you guys. I'll see you in my next video. Bye!